Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide. And yes, today we're checking out the brand new Boox Note Air 5C. And here is the package. I got the new cover and of course the Note Air 5C. We still have a 10.3-inch Kaleido 3 powered Android tablet, this time Android 15. Still, it has an octa-core CPU, 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, expandable via a micro SD card slot. What is supposed to be new about the 5C? Well, according to Boox, it's only a handful of things. The most notable one is the presence of the pogo port on the back and the ability to have the magnetic keyboard cover as an accessory for it for the first time. It has an Android 15. It is supposed to have a more paper-like feel of the screen surface, and the pen has been improved, and this is an introduction of a new Boox pen for the first time after a while. So those are the words that are associated with this package, and let's now unbox it and see if those words hold any meaning or not. All right, so here it is, the Note Air 5C. We have the already well-known and well-loved design of the Note Air line. I like the color, and while there are some innovations or let's say additions, so for example this time on 5C we do have hardware metal buttons for volume up and down, and I guess they can be programmed for page flipping and things like that. But it kind of seems like a forethought, because when you get the pen and you snap it right there, the top of the pen is intersecting with this one. And then somebody will say like, well, obviously that's not where you need to put the pen. You can put the pen down here. Well, yeah, you can, but the magnets are not really made for that. They're kind of pushing around, and you can see clearly that the pen is not happy to be there. Pen is very, very firmly held in this position. This is the position where it's supposed to be, yet somebody messed up greatly. After 7 devices, none of the 7 devices have introduced the anti-skid rubber feet here, and that is just a really, really strange omission to have, because yeah, you may constantly use it in the cover, but you also may be a customer who enjoys the beautiful thinness, the beautiful lightness, and the beautiful design of the device. But if you do use it like here, you're gonna have a slippery time. The biggest addition here that you can see is we have the pogo ports here, which of course is there for communication with the dedicated flipbook cover keyboard. The power button is in a similar place, but it is not exactly the same. Previous versions had like a fully nicely recessed power button, which always felt really good to simply kind of press here and you could always feel it. And granted, you can feel this one as well, but it's a little bit different because the button itself seems to be a bit taller. We have stereo speakers, one here, one down there, USB-C port, and a micro SD card slot here. On the back, we still have this lovely kind of a design with a nice modern, still modern, sporty line going across to the line here. Note Air 5C is supposed to have a more paper-like type of writing experience due to the screen, and they are saying new pen, but the new pen is not the one that's going to have that. It's going to be the nibs themselves. I'm going to check out the new nibs if they are indeed any different than the old Boox nibs. Maybe there's a marginal difference. It has a lot of yeah, you can hear this, but this is a brand new screen, so usually that happens. But yeah. So I'm just gonna oil it up a little bit, because brand new screens can sometimes be a little bit squeaky. So I'm just gonna, do this kind of stuff and see if that helps even out the situation. It also comes with a new and improved cover, which, lo and behold, it only took them 6 revisions to figure out, hey, maybe we should put a hole in the cover so that we can actually charge the device while the device is in the protective cover. Of course, this protective cover has that stupid flap that I just returned to the packaging, and I will not be using this, but overall this feels nice. The cover itself has this really interesting, almost fabric-like type of a structure, but it doesn't feel like fabric at all. It feels kind of gummy, rubbery, but this also gives me an impression of sturdiness. It's a good thing to see that we have retained the origami type of a logic for the front cover, because that allows us to, of course, have it in landscape mode, but also importantly in portrait mode as well. The first indication of what I can see is that this one is asymmetrical, as you can kind of see, and it doesn't really give me a straight look at the device. The device is tilting towards right. In landscape, we have that issue, but now it's tilting a little bit to the left. This is not ideal, especially because 3C and 4C as well had that cover origami that actually worked better than this one, unless I am not figuring out one of the origami configurations, which is entirely possible because, as you've seen, I've just unboxed it. So we'll see. Let's do a first power up, and considering that this is a first look video, not an in-depth review, I'm simply going to go through a couple of documents to check out the performance of the color display and how the colors are, how the front light is. I'm gonna be checking out the pen, and while it's starting, let's focus on the new pen. And images alone don't do it justice, to be quite honest, because this pen, for the first time ever from Boox, actually feels like a good high quality product pen. It doesn't feel like it's super shallow, super cheap, or anything like that. It feels very nice and fine. I love the smaller radius of the pen. It suits me very nicely, and I really love the fact that it's not perfectly round, but that you actually have this flat side, and that flat side allows me to actually orient it the way that I would like. It does have the lapel thing, but this is basically a gimmick, because you can't really put it in a lapel, because this whole thing actually goes up to reveal storage for 3 extra nibs. This itself is also magnetic, so it goes down here, which is great in itself, but I really don't understand why would you put it as a, lapel holder kind of thing, when all that's going to happen is that if you actually use it as a lapel in your shirt, for example, the slightest pull is going to take the whole pen out and everything is just gonna fall off. Especially because it's held by magnetic forces. It's a lovely, lovely feeling pen just to hold in the hand. Hello, yes, do continue. The fact that I love most of all is that this is an EMR pen, not the bull crap active pen that was such a horrible thing with the Go 7 series. Less so horrible with the Tab XC, but there's absolutely no need for this device to be crippled by introduction of an active pen, and I'm really happy to see that they haven't done that. I miss the fact that it doesn't have a button, doesn't have an eraser. Now you have a lot of gestures that you can actually use on the whole platform, so one could argue the usability of the button, but still it would be a nice choice, especially if you're designing a brand new pen. Onboarding process is so far the same. You choose your region, then you choose your date and time. Now we have the navigation bar and bottom gestures. I'm going to go with the bottom gestures option. I'm going to turn on sides gestures, and I'm going to configure them later on. And there we go. So we have our setup going. We have the navigation ball is here. So one of the first things that I'm going to do is turn off the navigation ball. I'm going to go to the gestures, I guess in system navigation. Yes, side gestures. So what I like to use is I like to use swipe gestures from the side, and I like to have, whoa, that's fast. That was nice. That was very, very fast. Okay, that's different. I've had my Note Air 3C for a long time, and I did test out 4C for a while. So this is actually quite a lot nicer, and the amount of ghosting or lack of ghosting is very reminiscent of the Tab XC performance. So that's kind of nice to see. So I'm gonna use this swipe to be a full screen refresh. I'm gonna keep this one to be the back. For the gestures themselves, I'm going to switch it around. I like this to be my e-ink center, or e-ink wise they are now calling it. Where's Waldo? Then we have back home, and then we have the multitask switcher here. That's how I like to prefer to set up my tablet here. All right, it comes pre-charged with at a healthy level of 82%, which is great. So let's hook it up online and see if it asks for some updates. It found the Wi-Fi networks normally, and there were no issues in connecting to it. So let's see, what does it want? This is a problem. As I said, it just lowered the volume. How is this is an incredible kind of an error that they've made. I don't understand how they could have done this, because yes, you are going to be forced to use the pen here, but clearly the magnets are not made for that, because it's just, you can see that you can do this very easily in this position, put it down here much more firmly, held by the magnets, but it's pressing on the button. Maybe they've used an old pen that had different orientation and different height, and then after the fact they went like, hey, well, let me check that. All right, so here we go, we have the old pen, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. They've designed the pen after the fact. It snaps at the same place. This is the same place where the magnets are. And you have that same type of length, so if the tips match in length, that's fine. But this cap, extra length, is enough that when you put it in the correct position, because that is obviously the correct position, it's pressing on the volume buttons. Well, the only thing that you can do is basically disable the buttons. So let's see if we can do that. So if we go to volume buttons, let's see if we can turn them off. No, you have preferred, no, you cannot turn them off. That's actually a problem. Very unfortunate. All right, so let's see which system update it's going to get. It's going to get 4.1.1. I transferred a couple of documents, and let's just configure this properly. So I'm just gonna go into directory mode, and I'm gonna go to settings, and I'm going to add a documents directory here for it to scan as well, so that I can have, there we go, documents, and there are the documents that I've transferred. So yep, hyperlinks are working normally. We have very good performance here, generally speaking. Yeah, absolutely excellent ghosting performance and speed performance. Very nice, very reminiscent of the Tab XC. This being a 4.1 OS, that means that we have yet another change of the e-ink center, which is no longer called e-ink center, it's now Boox e-ink wise. You don't really have anything properly new, it's just, again, find Waldo kind of thing, and it's a really catastrophic kind of arrangement, because this user interface is one of the worst that I've seen in a long time. Because you have like color mode, which is basically just an indication for these here, and underneath them, completely disconnected and completely out of everything, is go to set its refresh settings. It's whose refresh settings? Color modes? Ink wises? Neo readers? Whose refresh settings? And then you have this tiny little icon, which is, again, floating in its own world, a little bit above than the center line of the text. it's just a completely horrible mess. But the bottom line is, it's the same as before. This is your optimal color preferences, vivid color preferences, or you go to custom to actually disable all of the stuff if you want to see just the raw performance of the screen, how it is. Usually they do text emboldening by automatic, but they've stopped doing that. So that's kind of a cool thing to see. Nope, they haven't. It's still there. It's just now called clear view. I'm going to disable all of these so that we can see the raw performance of the screen and the raw image quality. And there we go. Why do I do this? Because default settings from Boox are not the best representation of what their devices can do. That emboldening and all of that kind of stuff introduces fuzziness, reduces clarity and all of that kind of stuff. So you really kind of need to know Boox devices inside and out in order to be able to get the best out of it. And for that, I recommend that you check out the Better Boox Guide playlist on my channel, on my Deep Guide channel. So we go to speed mode and we can just see how quick it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. So that's correct. Let's go to the regular refresh mode or the regal refresh mode and check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're on page 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're on page 40. Next is going to be a magazine with full-on images content. But before that, I want to turn off the front light. One of the new additions on the operating system 4.1 is that finally, we not only get the number, the numerical value of where what the value is, but we also get to have, if I'm not mistaken, yes, equal number between the steps of the intensity and the color adjustments, which was not the case for a very, very long time. That was not the case on Boox devices. So that's a nice addition. Although, again, user interface is absolutely horrific, simply because, I mean, nothing is aligned. There's no TLC whatsoever. What is TLC? Tender love and care. That is the final stage of development of anything, and this is just like, oh yeah, it functions, shoot it, it's good to go. Should we maybe put it just up here, or maybe that is something that's right here so that you don't obstruct it while you adjust it, that you don't have to kind of look at it weirdly? No, it's good enough, right? So everything's good enough. But that being said, we do have presets. So we have a bright preset, soft preset, and a custom preset, and setting to off, which is all the stuff that we didn't have before. So it is a good addition. It's just a shame that, as per usual, the user interface implementation is lacking. So before I check out the images here, I need to adjust one more thing here, and that would be, they changed it again. So now I need to find where the contrast is so that we can turn on image smoothing. All right, so let's see here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in settings? Yes, it is. It's in settings, image smoothing. Where's Waldo indeed? We have regal mode, normal, no full fresh refreshing. So let's do refresh here and see the image quality. It looks okay. Let's turn off the front light completely because we don't need it in these lighting conditions. So this looks okay. And we switch over. Nice. This is actually really good. Yeah, these transition between these two images is the most difficult one because you have these dark spires against red. But this one, yeah, is not struggling at all. We have absolutely fantastic deghosting performance, again reminiscent of the Tab XC, which is a wonderful thing to see. We didn't have that level of deghosting performance on the 4C or the 3C, so that is a genuine big improvement that I can absolutely immediately notice between these two. The second thing that I'm noticing is that the rendering of the colors is actually nice. Another thing that Kaleido panels do struggle with is the rendering of the greens. and this one is managing to do it okay. Actually a little bit better than before, maybe a bit kind of glowy, and it's losing a little bit of cohesion here, but you can help that with, you know, adjusting the contrast and stuff, because remember, I've turned everything off. This is as flat as it gets. So just for comparison's sake, let's see what does the optimal setting do here. Yeah, they increase a little bit of contrast, so you get a little bit of more blades here, but look how much details you lose in the house itself. Vivid, like that, and my custom setting, it is much flatter, yes, but you do get a lot more clarity and a lot more details. I love the sharpness, I love the clarity for a Kaleido 3 panel. So I'm not generally a fan of Kaleido 3 panels, but taking into consideration that this is a Kaleido 3 panel, it's performing excellently. Basically, the best Note Air color performance so far. Let's switch it to speed mode and see how bad does it get, because it is going to get bad. So now we have degradation of the quality, image quality, yes, and color quality, again degradation, but we don't have catastrophic ghosting. I mean, look, this is a very, very difficult, again, condition here. Big large surface of colors, darker frame, white text on that, and when you go here, normally you can see a little bit ghosting here, but not the rest of it. But to be really honest, yeah, I don't really mind the slower speed here, simply because the refreshing method is very nice and flowy and organic. It's not blinky at all. It just kind of whooshes the whole thing, kind of washes it out, and the new image appears, and I find it very pleasant. And the additional thing is that the benefit of the quality and the ghosting benefits that I get from the Regal image refresh mode, yeah, to me it's absolutely worth it, because yeah, this just looks really, really cool. So the image quality is quite nice, and once you start actually looking at it from different angles, then you get to enjoy that, yeah, the loveliness of the e-ink screens, which is that at any angle you have the exact same type of visibility, just like you have on a piece of paper. And that in real world readability is just a really, really pleasant type of a situation. So overall, I'm really happy with the rendering of colors for a Kaleido panel, and I'm very, very happy with the deghosting performance, and the overall image performance seems to be very, very good on the 5C. All right, now let's head on over and test out the new pen and the writing characteristics of the 5C. Yes, I got it. That's all fine. Let's minimize this. Oi, oi, oi. All right, so I'm stopping the regular test because I don't know if you noticed, I'm happy that I was recording, but did you see that kind of weird performance that was happening of fading strokes completely here, kind of almost fading out? Thankfully, it's not repeating itself. What I started to write here is in regards to the writing feel of the pen. So the first impressions of the new pen, yeah, it remains the same as my first impressions before writing. The quality of the pen is really, really nice, and the surface and the material that is used here is extremely pleasant. It's not slippery at all, which means that the pen rests in your hand very, very naturally, very, very effortlessly. And when I write, I don't have to exert too much pressure to keep the pen secure and controlled. And that results in nice control levels of writing, right? So for me, that's a huge improvement over the old original pen. The writing comfort and amortization is also very nice. I'm going to choose a different pen here so that we can have a bit more of a pressure sensitivity situation here to test it out. And let's see how the pen, yeah, they're not, yeah. So the minimum of pressure sensitivity is still not that great. So the pressure sensitivity calibration is still lacking. They also mentioned that it's now tilt sensitive. That is nonsense. It is not the pen itself that contains some magical bit of technology to make tilt detection. It's actually the grid underneath and whether or not your software is utilizing that. So, but the good thing is that here they are utilizing it as they would. However, there have been no significant improvements in the pencil brush itself, and therefore, yes, you do have tilt, but would you really want to use it? Me, not personally. It doesn't come anywhere near of Remarkable or Kindle's pencil brushes. They do have a new categorization of pressure-sensitive pens, so now you have fountain pen, calligraphy pen, and a regular pen. So let's see how the fountain pen behaves, because I've tried the first one. So this is a fountain pen on the Boox Note Air 5C. It's very nice. Yep. Feels very nice and looks very nice as well. It's close to what we get on the Montblanc digital paper. It's not exactly there, but it is kind of close. So you do get a similar type of satisfaction and a similar type of feel. So let's see the calligraphy pen. Okay, so this is a little bit too thin. They call it calligraphy pen, but it's not doing, yeah, what you would expect it to. Let's just see the difference between the fountain pen and calligraphy pen by doing the same kind of thing. Looks much nicer. So it's a really welcome addition to see the introduction of a nicely functional yeah, fountain brush or pen. One thing that I really want to comment on is that basically, yeah, it's nice that they've introduced a flat area here, but the edge of the device here is not flat. It has a radius, like does the Kindle Scribe. So Amazon did it properly when they designed their pen, and they don't have a flat side. They actually have a concave side here with the indentation that will maximize the contact surface between the edge of the device and the pen itself. And that actually extends all the way up to here. And incidentally, that's basically all you need for the pen itself to have that indentation and not exert pressure on the button, and it actually works. So all they needed to do was add that concave section here, and then it would have worked perfectly, but they didn't. So there you go, we got the Note Air 5C with us, with a brand new pen. Last night I was recording the top-down and unboxing part of the footage, and now I'm recording the face footage, and in the meantime I've had the time to kind of use it some more. And I'm happy to report that like any other brand new screen and brand new nib, the squeakiness kind of thing, it's actually gone away, which was not the case with the Montblanc digital paper. oddly enough. But here, yeah, it definitely is. And I gotta say that my initial impressions of liking the feel of this new pen really remains, because it's so comfortable. And notice that because it does have this flat edge all along the one side, while it doesn't really fit the curved profile of the Note Air 5C, it fits the side of the Note Max absolutely perfectly. And the magnets in this pen are absolutely phenomenal. It snaps onto the side of the Note Max so well, and it suits it so well, that I'm seriously considering to, what an interesting, definitely not planned, this just happens all the time, that I'm seriously considering to use this pen were it not for other faults, and this is one of them. While I really do like the idea that this is magnetic and it's nice, like you've just seen, I cannot even begin to describe to you how many times this simply falls off. And you know why? Only because of this. This gets in the way, you snap it, and it just goes off, and you're off looking for it, and a couple of times even the nibs fell out, because as you've seen, they're not held by anything, they just fall out. But you do end up with this kind of cool looking, almost minigun looking kind of thing, like, but minigun kind of thing aside, yeah, from the practical side of things, I really wish that they've used a mechanical kind of component of holding this together, so that you have to have a click to kind of, and put an intentional type of a pressure, and then take it off. This simply slides off way too easily, especially with this one. However, it's incredibly pleasant to use and really comfortable to use, and very precise. The other thing that I noticed is that this pressing on a button is a very real issue with this pen. I was trying to kind of, you know, go through a document, read through a document, and suddenly like it started blinking like crazy, and I thought that it was glitching out, and it ended up in the last page. And what was going on was that, yeah, this pen was pressing on the volume down button, which is next page, which basically was totally pressed down, and it circled all the way down to the end of the document. I find very difficult to understand why would they go through with that. Yes, you can put it down there, but as it demonstrated, the magnet is not designed for that, and it doesn't hold it too good. The other aspects that are in favor as far as first look goes for the Note Air 5C, most of all the screen performance and deghosting. This is a really fast and a really clean and yeah, crisp interpretation of a Kaleido Tree panel. So we're talking just in the realms of a Kaleido Tree panel and what this technology is capable of. This one, so far, it looks like it's on par with the Tab XC, and the Tab XC so far was the best that I've ever seen. So this one, yeah, right there. All right, so that's the first look of the Note Air 5C. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. What are you interested to see here? And yeah, get me to check it out for either the review or other supplemental videos that may come regarding this device. Also tell me your thoughts about the design fiasco regarding this one. Is this a big deal for you or not? Because it is a really big deal for me. It's almost a deal breaker that you have something like this, because you have this wonderful pen and you can't really use it, and you can't use the button. It's just a bizarre kind of a thing for moi. But yeah, what is it like for you? Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.